Hi everyone. So it was big news yesterday, and I've took some time to really research this and come to my conclusion, because my conclusion is quite worrying, to be quite honest. So these two men apparently are the two men that the Metropolitan Police in this country and the Conservative Party say Novichok the Skripals. This is from BBC. Salisbury Novichok poisoning Russian nationals named as suspects. And their names Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Boshirov. They're the guys. BBC go on to give you a timeline of what's happened. It's all very detailed. They came into Gatwick. They went to a hotel. Then they did a reconnaissance visit in Salisbury. Then they returned, and then they target the home and then flew to Moscow. So they came in. So two Russian nationals on fake passports, apparently, came in on Russian visas, did the deed. They came in on a direct flight from Russia, did the deed, and then flew back home, direct flight back to Russia. If these are Russian assassins, they're the worst assassins I've ever seen in my life. It's not exactly covering their tracks. Apparently, it all came from this perfume bottle that was found that Charlie Rowley found, which was responsible for killing his girlfriend. Now, Charlie Rowley, when he was interviewed, said that when he found that bottle, it was in a package, and he distinctly remembered having to open it with a knife because it was sealed. If it was sealed, how did they smear it on the doorknob? How could they smear it on the doorknob of the Skripals house and then seal it before they chucked it away in a charity bin? Okay, must be another bottle, I suppose. And that was an extra one. BBC have also did a what we know so far, and they've given this timeline. The timeline's a bit weird, because if the Skripals left at 9 o'clock in the morning from their house and it was smeared on the doorknob, how can that be the case if the men didn't get there until after the Skripals left the house in the morning? Does that mean the Skripals had to go back to the house in between? Because we've been told that the Novichok was definitely on the doorknob. We haven't been told that the Skripals went back to the house. So there's obviously, and that's without all the other discrepancies in the timeline that I've covered on many videos. I'll leave a link up there to the playlist that I've done on it. I've probably done about 10 or 11 videos on this now. And obviously one of the weirdest things for me is at the bottom there, Detective Sergeant Nick Bailey, who fell ill after attending the incident, was treated in hospital but discharged on 22nd of March. So the first person who found the Skripals was a police officer. That was fortunate, wasn't it? And a detective sergeant. That was the first person. Guardian have been doing the same as the BBC. All of the British press have been doing the same. I'm not going to read any of them because it's a waste of time. They're just stenographers for whatever the government are saying. Now, remember, the Metropolitan Police haven't blamed Russia for this. Metropolitan Police have just detailed what they've detailed. Theresa May, of course, has straight away come out and said this is Russia that did it. It was Russia state that did it, and it was somebody in the GRU with high-level access that did it. Now, where she's getting all that information from, I don't know, but she hasn't given any evidence to back up her assertions at all. And Russia have obviously said, don't be daft, it wasn't us. These pictures, people were asking questions about, me too. I said, when it was pointed out to me, the timestamp on those two pictures are the same. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I apologise if I do. But that can be explained. I am going to sneeze. Oh. Sorry. Yeah, so that picture can be explained with they just walk through the barrier and we're either side of those screens, and there's a camera on each of one of them. Okay. So that's what we're being told. We're being told that these men did it. They're Russians. Putin knew about it, or somebody in the GRU knew about it, and that's it. Case closed. We just got to look after these. Can we have these, please? There's a arrest warrant out for them, and yeah, that's what we've been told to believe. That's bullshit. Okay. For those of you who haven't seen these videos, watch this video up here that I've done, and that will bring you up to date. I'll just give you a quick reminder. Christopher Steele, the man who put together the dirty dossier, the P dossier on Donald Trump, the man who was paid by Fusion GPS, which was a Hillary Clinton part of the Hillary Clinton Victory Fund. They're paid by GPS to dig up dirt on Donald Trump before the 2016 election. It was Christopher Steele, who was an ex-MI6 agent, who was the guy at the head of that, building that case, that dossier. When the dossier was made public by BuzzFeed in January 2017, the first thing the UK government did was put a D notice on our media for mentioning his name. The BBC and the Telegraph, a D notice, by the way, is I think DMCA notice, I think they're called, not a DMCA notice, what am I talking, a DA notice, which is just to say to the media, don't print this, it's against the interests of national interest. It's not mandatory for them to follow through on it, though. The press can say, no, that's not, we're going to print it. Now, at that stage, Christopher Steele's name was all over the internet, so the BBC, the Guardian, and the Telegraph all just ignored it and printed Christopher Steele's name. However, why am I talking about that? Well, the interesting thing is, when Sergei Skripal was poisoned, and the Skripals were poisoned, the first thing the UK government did was put a D notice on the company Orbis Business Intelligence and the name Pablo Miller. Pablo Miller is an ex-MI6 spy who many think was responsible for recruiting Sergei Skripal. He worked for Orbis Business Intelligence, and Orbis Business Intelligence was Christopher Steele's company. Okay, so these two things are connected. You're up to speed now. These two things are connected. Russiagate, Spygate, whatever you want to call it in America, it's connected somehow to the Skripals. There's too much. That's too much of a coincidence. Too much of a coincidence for those two things not to be connected. They're just not. And then a day before this all comes out, I see this video from a place in America. Now, this is a channel in America called Your Voice. It's a right-wing, pro-Trump channel. A guy at the head of it is a guy called Bill Mitchell. He's on the Trump train big time. But they've done an episode of the Steele Truth. And these two guys, the one in the middle is called Robert Carone, the one on the right is called Joshua Mercias. And these two guys are apparently from the intelligence industry in the US. And they've come forward, they're coming forward with a load of information, a load of documents that basically prove that Donald Trump was being spied on by three bad actors in the Trump campaign, and this goes back to November the 1st of 2016. So even before Trump was elected, this goes back to. Just listen to this one little segment. I'm going to do a video on this later, just for this video. I want to give a disclaimer here. I'm not 100% sure that what these guys are saying is true. I can only report on them saying it. I will say that they do seem like intelligence personnel. They invoke, and they're very praising in their words for people like Bill Binney, who regular watchers of my channel will know I'm a big fan of. So this is what the guy says about what happened on the beginning of November in 2016. I know some people will be looking at this scratching their head, but just listen what he says.
Robert jumps the plane to New York. Robert, what exactly did you get? What was that phone call you received? What were those words you heard that shocked you into reality of, wow, we have a real problem?
I was told that there were three bad actors that had infiltrated the Trump campaign, and that they were working with people from the UK, bad actors from GCHQ and MI6, and also people from Russia, non-Kremlin Russia, I may add, that were associated with an oligarch. And immediately I got on a plane. I flew to New York that evening. I met with a senior Trump campaign representative and gave him the information.
So what he's saying there is, as you heard, in the beginning of November, in the intelligence community, he was told that there were 3 bad actors in the Trump campaign who were spying on him. These 3 bad actors were apparently installed by the US government, Barack Obama, etc., and they were giving information on the Trump campaign, working together with bad actors from GCHQ and working together with a Russian oligarch. Coincidence that happens a day before all of this stuff on Sergei Skripal and these 2 guys come out? Do you think that's coincidence? I've been saying all along that these 2 things are connected, and the fact that comes out at the same time or a day before the evidence on the Novichok stuff comes out today or yesterday, I thought this is too much of a coincidence again. Now, these 2 guys apparently along with many other people in the intelligence community, are putting together some documents that basically prove what they're saying is true, and they're putting it all out on a website which is going to be up by tomorrow. And the website, I believe, is called Report for the President, because they're actually giving Donald Trump his own login. It's amazing. Either this is one massive, elaborate scam, or it's going to be the biggest thing since Nixon, since Watergate. It really is. And the Democrats are not going to be happy, because it's not going to be Donald Trump who's in trouble. It's going to be the Democrats, the very people, remember, who instigated this whole Russiagate nonsense against Trump. You use your weakness on your opponent. That's what they tell you, don't they, in Sun Tzu? Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm way off here. But for these 2 things to be happening at the same time is really, really, it's coincidental. And as I said before, whenever I see coincidences, my spidey sense starts going off. Whatever happens, we haven't heard the last of this. This is going to come out. This is not the be all and end all. Just a couple of things. Those 2 guys are obviously never going to see inside of a court over here. Same as the people in the Russia who Mueller indicted. They're never going to see the inside of a US court, because there's no extradition between Russia and the UK, or between Russia and the US. And Putin's not going to hand them over. However, it would be good if Putin could get to the bottom of this. If it is, oligarchs, Putin's going to be trying to get to the bottom of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if those 2 men are in some sort of Russian prison right now. And I think Corbyn brought up in the PMQs yesterday that he would definitely be holding Russia accountable for not cooperating, is what he said. And I think that's what he probably meant. Let me know what you think now. I've tried to get to the bottom of this as possible without surmising as to what I think. But honestly, what I think's happened is that these 2 guys are working for this Russian oligarch. And what I think is entirely possible is these 2 guys didn't have any Novichok on them. These 2 guys were just meeting the Skripals. Because if they were all involved together, it makes sense that, they wouldn't be killing each off. They would be meeting each other. Whether somebody, tried to do a false flag incident, if you like, I don't know. But I can't surmise as to what has happened here with any degree of certainty. But what I do know is what we're being told by the government seems to be absolute tosh right now, and it certainly doesn't seem to be anything to do with Putin or Russia that's involved in this. It would make no sense for him to do that. Same as when they say that Russia and Assad do these gas attacks in Syria. It makes no sense for them to do that. They're winning the war. Why would they do it? I've got an eerie feeling we're not being told the truth about this. And I've got an eerie feeling that I'm closer to the truth than anybody at the BBC and the Guardian is giving you. I think it's fair to say that. Let me know in your comments what you think. Let me know whether you think I'm way off here. I'm making a bit of a stretch here, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch, and I do think these 2 things seemingly are connected. There's no such thing as a coincidence, not one this big. If you like this video and you want to hear more, please click subscribe and click the bell down there as well so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Otherwise, YouTube will hide it from you, any future videos. They have admitted that they do that. We are facing an absolute onslaught, a barrage from both the corporate media and corporations who are trying to silence our voices. They're trying to stop us from bringing you the truth and cutting through the partisan BS that you get in the mainstream media. They don't like it. We're their competition. So if you can support channels like mine, please do so. Please share the videos wherever you can. Talk to your friends and family and spread the word about what we're doing. If you can support us on Patreon, please do so as well. The link is down there. You can support me for as little as $1 a month, and every bit helps. We cannot do this without your support. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.